All right. Hello to all the students that are just joining us at Boston City campus and are joining Radio 3. My name is Chris Jordan, and I'm going to be here for the next while in this bit of a catch-up lesson, so that you all know where we are in class, and of course, I will see you in class. I am going to be drinking a lot of water because um, I'm like nice and dry from a bit of a flu that I just had. So I might actually switch off my little pick. I wonder if I can actually do that. There we go. All right, there we go. And hopefully you can see that a little bit more clearer without my bake what's going on and on. Okay, welcome to Radio 3. What I'm going to do within the next the next 5-6 lessons here is that I'm going to go through the things that you need to focus on. Of course, you have to go to Cole Campus and have to go to obviously your lesson module or your radio module, and then go check the full lessons over there. Please be aware that also we have started the F1, formative one, which must be done in groups of 4, and it has to be handed in at the end of the month. Again, the full F1 is available for download, as it always has been on our Cole campus. Okay, great. Let's get into what were the main aspects of lesson 1. I wanted to obviously have a look at, where have we come from in Radio 1 and Radio 2, but specifically in Radio 1 in this lesson, remembering where we have come in terms of our history and how we've made it from, having obviously radio here in South Africa versus, obviously the apartheid government, and then Bantu Radio, and obviously all the, the way that it was dictated to what Bantu Radio was, was allowed to broadcast to its to the African community, and of course then just the introduction of a television very, very late on into our timeline in 1976, and how that was a massive, obviously a massive thing for the media industry, but for us especially because it was about I'm going to say 30 years too late, 30 years after the Americans, the British, etc., had introduced television as a medium over there. Yeah. Anyway, look, so we schedule over, or we scuttle over to 2019, where we're in a completely different space. We have a lot of representation across a lot of commercial companies, a lot of PBS companies, radio stations, should I say PBS radio stations, commercial radio stations, and as well we have 296 community stations, right? Community stations at 296, and public broadcast services sitting at with commercial at 31. So that is the current statistic, and obviously we've introduced a ton load of mediums into, like, the battlefield, the competitive space. So we have our podcasting, our streaming, our TV streaming, our YouTube streaming. We have digital in general, which are some of those fall under, but also digital in terms of social media. And then, everything goes underneath that: social messaging, for example. Obviously, on WhatsApp is what I'm referring to directly, perhaps maybe Facebook Messenger, but, the predominant ones are the ones that I just mentioned. Okay. We've been through COVID, and our statistics last stopped, should I say, in 2019. So again, through right in this week, and now we'll be covering the RAMs and the BOC RAMs, the journals and the statistics. One of those words I stumble over all the time. Yeah. Anyway, statistics, right? Throughout this week, and this is why I'm bringing you up to that moment. But because of COVID obviously being around, we did not have any diaries and any reports for just, well, yeah, I would say just under 2 years. We do have two reports, one 2 month and one 5 month, which happened obviously now, no, about a month ago. Okay. Anyway, um, sidebar. Just want to get you up to date. Let's all get up to date as to where we are right now in the commercial space. I mean, our commercial in total, like in terms of consumption of media in general. Okay. All right. So just something to also note, so you can have a read through this. We can obviously start introducing the concept of why social media, why social media is it's a big player, but it's misinterpreted because it's the radio, obviously the radio landscape was very threatened by the uprise of social media, and it would be safe to say, I suppose, any medium buzz, but radio in specific was chaotic. We watched our managers, we watched the stations roll out a bunch of activations that they had no idea would fit, not, did not know how to use each profile, a platform to its full advantage, and also that each platform has a different use. Okay, so it's not about, like, let's say, posting something to Facebook or your Facebook fan page, to the same thing on Instagram, the same thing on Twitter, and then some kind of reference perhaps on to TikTok or whatever it may be, right? But these all these main players, as again I mentioned, a couple of them, also LinkedIn falls in there, and Snapchat has been mentioned, but it isn't really part of this, even though might some people might think of it as that. Remember, social media has also played a very different adding or to it's been playing a big role in adding a very different effect to how well, presenters and stations, but presenters in general have been affected by their own actions. So, for example, we have outrages by, for example, ex Unati, and we have, just outrages by Thibaut Touch. And, we had this whole, it might have not directly been to social media just yet, but when Spoo was taken off Wife and Breakfast for selling his own product, etc., etc. That kind of obviously dwindled across the different social mediums, and there's a lot of support for him because, he, for me, he's a magician, and he's full of. I mean, he deserves the full respect of someone that is within his peer group, like us as radio practitioners, because that this man is on he's just fire, and he's always been. So his situation a little bit different. No rants, no this, no that. He's very professional, but there is also this thing about stations wanting to get you out and finding the smallest reason to replace you as well. That's a conversation for a completely other day. All right. Mm, so what I've done there obviously is just placed a picture of Anele. Just right now she's I think it's Anele in the Breakfast Club. There it is right there. Okay. And we've known Anele for many years. I mean, I grew up with her. I say grew up with her. We started Tux together. We worked at 9 to 7 together. And Anele is she's a likable um bitch. That's the thing. That we actually use that term as a term of endearment, right? So there was a certain stage where Anele was just going just a little too far. Well, at a certain point she was right in the middle of Black Twitter, and it was not boding well for her at all. She also was not being of the best, I'm going to say, form within her TV career, and they kind of jolted her out as to indicate to all of us, once again, you're never too big or too famous or too special or whatever it is in any industry. and especially here in South Africa, where our industry is so saturated, both TV and radio, and then just booted it out. But it's great to obviously hear that Anele is just back to her old, like her old self, but she's grown up, and that's quite a nice thing to be able to follow and to be able to look towards what Anele does on radio as a media practitioner, right? Is just one of the many, I say a large group of people exactly like Sbu, exactly like Penny Libiani for me. Um, exactly like there's a good handful of people that really contribute to this industry. Linda Johnson, Neil Johnson, what's her name now? Damn it, man, I'll remember now. She's currently the station manager of Star FM. Damn. Anyway, completely gone. All right. She's super great. She ran Five. She ran Metro. She ran Y. She's magic. Damn, what is her name? Anyway, I'll go find it for. I'll just get my phone and I'll look for it now. Okay. Oh, Karen. No, is it Karen? Yes, I'm doing this in real time. I believe that it's fine. Let's have it. I'm gonna find out. Okay. Oh, I'll leave it for a surprise. Okay, let me carry on. Okay, the role of radio in crises. So radio is always there because it was something that at once, and it has been forever, being able to real time alert a country if it is in a state of emergency. We can't do that over TV. We can't. I mean, we can, but there's going to be an essence of delay there. The radio is where you go. If you again look at your history and remember about how radio grew through obviously the 4 years of World War II, you can kind of understand why, in this day and age, when COVID hit in 2020, we were locked onto our radio set or streaming radio or whatever it was, our cell phone, plugged in our earphones. We got obviously the the frequencies, the free frequencies instead of streaming, etc. It doesn't really matter. The thing is that it is everywhere. It's easy accessible on smartphones, cars, through home entertainment systems. We get smart systems, we get Alexa, we get everything like that, right? So, excuse me. So this is a very big drawback to the importance, the real core importance of radio, and how we are like an exact first measure for the media to be part of, giving information to in our case, 95% of the public here in South Africa listen to radio. That's a big amount. You're going to say, well, 5%. Well, what, 95% better than nothing, right? Much better than nothing. Okay. And anyway, okay. So we utilized radio a lot, just over the past two, and continuing obviously into year three of the pandemic. Okay, so just one of those things. I don't want to go through that. A take-home exercise would be great if you just for yourself now, because obviously we passed that. Just have a listen to a station that you do not listen to. Explain how you listen, device, radio. Use your streaming or whatever it might have been. The details of the station, the format, the detailed format of the hour, what you like about the hour, and what you could do differently. Okay. So I'm going to briefly, just quickly go over DAB, right? So DAB, digital audio broadcasting, is where we replace, right? We replace, our terrestrial radios, our AM and our FM, into a digital, same mechanic, right? But we will be able to only, well, this is okay what the prediction is, but it is already a reality in quite a few states in Europe, where again AM and FM is completely, it's taken off completely, doesn't exist anymore. It is a fossil. and DAB is the only, is the only, well, I'll say, uh, a radio platform, okay? A radio portal, should I say? That would be better for me to say a radio portal where our radio stations can now broadcast. The whole point of DAB plus is that you will never get white noise. You'll never get, like, you won't lose signal. There's a lot of advantages to it, but within our country, like, just because of the fact that DAB has to be with, again, a DAB receiver, and it's just, again, it's one of those like massive quantum leaps to a place where we look at our infrastructure, we look at, obviously, the way that our population right now consumes media, and it doesn't seem like it's a realistic place for us. It doesn't even quite fit. I don't think a lot of people would actually quite like it at this very moment. Okay. Mm, Okay, so just in terms of, we're gonna touch a little bit on our social media, and also in the next lesson, I think I go through a little bit more detail in it, but I'm going to just, again, give you this whole video is about the highlights to catch up over the past 3 weeks. Please, it is your responsibility to go look at the slides, everything that is on Cole Campus. I made sure that it has been updated in advance as well, okay, to where it is that you can climb into class. Like, you'll be, right now are busy with like a bit of a half and half, so half an hour of practical, half an hour of theory, and you will definitely be okay. So just to keep in mind that the three digital opportunities for South Africa, South African media. So we find ourselves looking at the digital space is really a hyper personalization. Let's do it slower, and contextualization. Marketers and content creators will need to produce personalized content and personalized advertising to engage consumers facing information overload. In this example, or this particular point, and how we are able to kind of say transform our business and our brand as a radio station, or as a radio practitioner, presenter, broadcaster. We have to start looking again as to, one, never mind on air, but off air, again, because we have these social platforms that are just everywhere, and we should be looking at it first and foremost as a place to be able to create something that is directly personal. So exactly what we would do on radio, but because radio is all about the immediate connection, and the immediate, kind of like empathy that allows you to connect with a listener. We want to be able to make sure we're not wasting our time with kind of like rubbish posts and stuff that doesn't really mean anything, or it has no place, or it's but confusing for our followers, etc. Content fragmentation across platforms. Once again, this is one of those things we want to look at. Broadcasting and advertisers have opportunities to exploit now this particular state that we're in. So we not only can we now should I say, like we always have been able to entice our clients, etc., to advertise on the station. We give them, obviously, the libraries, billboards, whatever it may be. But now we have much more of a seductive process for them to follow us into the digital space. And again, just to quickly disclaim my apologies, just because I have been ill. So you're going to hear this, whatever. Okay. Partnerships and convergence technology is enabling enterprises to partner up with audiences to fund or co-create innovative content. So what's nice is that it's not that easy. I'm going to say from let's say, so I run Chris Jordan Media. It is a new media. It's an independent new media provider. So if you have a brand that's been, this particular brand has been out for, it's been alive for about just under 5 years. quite unlike the prime media's kaki sauce and whatever it else is that we find in the radio industry, as well as anything else in the production industry. But you know, the thing is that if you stick strong to your product, you know, I'm going to take these companies out of these legacy companies out of the situational equation or whatever it may be. And I would really speak about how you know, if you just keep going with what it is that your brand has decided from the very beginning and is executing, rolling out, you slowly will find a way, and the way with the best type of relationships that suit your brand and their brand. Um, and that has happened quite nicely for me, you know, especially in the past, I would say 12 to 14 months. So, you know, keep pushing. Okay, so please go have a look at the NAB report. I'm not going to go through it there. And this is also, again, one of those things that I am not going to focus on in this snap lesson, because there's too much to cover. All right. But I'd like you to look at Michael Porter's five force model, which allows us to, you know, through first the rivalry amongst existing competitors, the threat of new entrants, the bargaining powers of buyers, the threat of substitute products, and the bargaining power of suppliers. How that affects project management decisions, you know, within our station. So it's very good to be able to look at what situation we're currently in, who our competitors are, in radio. It's a saturated market, and be able to run ourselves through this five force model to be able to you know, get a very clear and a very concise view and point, like I would say, a call to action for ourselves to be able to you know, implement some kind of new strategy, so some type of new action step forward, whatever it may be. Okay, so it is really important. There are videos that are attached to it as well, and then there is obviously the explanation. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at start lesson 2 up here. Okay. Figure this out. Sundays, Sunday, bloody Sunday. Okay. All right. Let's just leave it at that instead of in the presentation itself. And okay, here we go. So lesson 2. Let's quickly again, I say, look into the highlights of lesson 2, which is all about, you know, being able to understand where social media is. What I want to look at are the five social media techniques that you should be using. You know, it has to lead to a digital calendar, 1 to 30 days, where you will share at this point, because it's your first time, I'm guessing, for the large majority of you that are implementing a digital strategy. That means posting every day to different social media platforms, and you're posting with purpose. So no more just pictures of you just on your bed and just singing to a little bit of a song. That provides absolutely no purpose whatsoever. And why are you going to say to me, well, no, but that works. I get 1,000 likes or whatever it is, or whatever views. No, the thing is you as a media practitioner, you have to be showing that you're creating content and posts that matter. Some posts are going to be promotional, some parts are completely original, some parts are posts, should I say, are recycled bits from other news sources where you add your own new angle, that type of stuff, right? Okay, so one, content strategy and planning is exactly that. The best way to attract listeners is by thinking about what they might be searching for and creating content around that. So brainstorming your ideas best works for you. Brainstorming always works. I mean, we have creators who live in the brainstorming space without even a piece of paper, right? So what happens is that I suggest that you start taking, yeah, look, all of us on social media, right? And we're on it between an hour and a half as people in the media to about 3 hours a day. That is a long time, right? Now, no one's going to say that you sit on social media for an hour at a time. It's all those 7 minute breaks, those 5 minute breaks, those 2, 3 minute breaks throughout the day. The moment you wake up in the morning to the moment that you actually go to bed, how many times do you actually just quickly switch on over, right? And then you just scrolling through a feed, don't like, share this, whatever it is, that's minutes taken up, right? So we live in that particular environment. So we need to start thinking strategically how we're going to use this. There are many ways. Obviously, you can, once again, as I said, your digital calendar is the first and mandatory way. But then you can also look at how maybe you can do advertising across Facebook ads, which then leak over to Instagram ads, and you can see how you can monetize your YouTube videos. Uh, 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 you know, in that way. You don't have to become an influencer. And so influencers are also losing their power in 2022. That's part of the trends that were predicted in the very beginning of the year. But content is now what people are sick of people that are kind of like anybody and anyone that don't want to be they don't like having to act on the title of an influencer, right? So let's say this random person in Switzerland now has like 5 million followers. They're considered an influencer, but they can say and do whatever they want, right? A brand ambassador, on the other hand, has etiquette, has contracts, has purpose, has also direction. Um, for this is the type of social media that we want, right? We also then want, our professionals, our media professionals, our upcoming professionals, like, so our young creatives, even down to even down to, like, our 9, 10, 11, 12 year olds, to be giving us more posting with purpose content, great stuff, great entertainment, as opposed, like I said, to just a random reel of you showing. I mean, that kind of sound almost describes what anything, any other word that comes past that. But I mean, like, just showing off like your new pair of shoes or whatever it is, and it has no connection to a brand, whatever it may be. Okay. Um, I just have to pause this so I can just quickly get my plug so I can keep this charged. Nope. Sorry. There we go. Pause. Oh, okay. I don't want to pause the share. Okay, we're back. Okay. All right. So we want to be able to you have to be encouraged right now and actually take some action to set up your profile successfully. When I say that, you might have profiles, but now you've got to obviously work across brands. So you've got to be able to create one brand that fluctuates across all your media platforms. You have to actually have a Twitter account. You have to actually have an Instagram, a TikTok, a Facebook fan page, as well as a YouTube channel, right? You will have, for business reasons, you will have for LinkedIn, right? Okay. And okay, let's look at just the rest of this. Okay, good use of logos. You guys are media students. You can create some really nice basic logos for yourselves to put up, so that you can start with that brand identity, planning content in advance, as I said to you, with a digital diary and a digital calendar. With this step in specific, so Google Analytics is something that, well, I think you should go do like a little bit of a free online course. You can find it on so Google has an education portal, and you can get certified for free in Google Analytics, so you can go have a look at that. I've got a ton of them, but I've also got a ton of the other certifications around applied digital skills. as well as their, their G Suite apps. But I'm just saying to you, you can go there, and a lot of them are for free. Okay. Mm. So because the analytics are almost impossible for you right now to use, think of them please in the future. The 411 technique is one technique that you can use when you are planning your digital calendar, right? So what does the 411 technique mean? 6 pieces of content that are shared, then you go to the next, you repeat this kind of process on and on. 4 pieces of content that are aimed at your target audience, that's from other sources. Effectively, you're sharing other product producers content. One piece original, educational, or it is it's just original, right? Everything that we find can be educational, or it can be like lead focus, whatever it may be. One piece should be sales related to your product or your brand. Very important. Let's go to 5. Use evergreen content. Do not always create new content, new content all the time. It is exhausting for you and them. And so what happens is balance that out with stuff that is popular, within your space and in your world, and make a good share of what you are promoting. Across, you can promote your evergreen content, uploading to SoundCloud, Mixcloud, kind of vary it here and there, and again, cross promote is also very nice. That's what I'm going to stop with our our digital for a moment. Right, hold on a second. You cannot minimize Zoom. Okay, now give me another opportunity just to bring up lesson 3. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to go up to lesson 5. All right, up to lesson 5, and then everything else will be enough for you to kind of like know where you are in this particular lesson. We want to just quickly look at podcasting in specific. So the DAB I briefly described before, but it's also been done in your second year, digital audio broadcasting, again, where the South African space sits and where there are trials going on, and whether they're going to be effective. But this is one of those things that's been carrying on for years and years and years and years, and really for me is not that important to focus on, just because currently in our climate, it's a necessity to know about, but it's not a necessity to be you know um just like an expert on it, right? Okay. But the information is there, and you can go and have a look at it and go research on your own if you are interested. One thing that you can go is just on my site, chrisjordanmedia.net. There are a number of products, but the one I want to point you to it's a free audio book that I've supplied to, and I've been graced by SRN, the Student Radio Network, to endorse the product to 40 or more, 40, well, I'd say 40 plus community stations in South Africa. They use it to train, their staff. They actually just kind of give it to their staff and say, there's a lot of pointers out there, great for broadcasters. Both there's a beginners section, and then there's an advanced section. So you can just head on there and you can download it. It is 110 megabytes. Okay, so let's look at the podcasting space quickly. Okay, you've obviously been introduced to podcasts practically through last year's, I think, formative 2, right? You probably 10 to 1 will be introduced to it once again. I'm just checking that. Okay. So let's just have a look at some aspects that we need to look out for in podcasting. So Maisha, I think it's Pochicchio, the content marketing manager at Vistia, says that from a content perspective, I definitely see more brands experimenting with the whole aspect of podcasting and audio content in the next couple of years, right? So whether that's launching a full-blown podcast or embedding audio clips into individual blogs, like we want to be able to do that. So I've been doing podcasting for well, it's been 12 years now. And this is just a medium that now has been given a label, right? So podcasts have existed for much longer than when it became, like I say, labelized and trended. I say trended. Trended sounds like something that's going to end. It's not. It's actually one of the only mediums where they have predicted a rise in within the next 5, 6, 7 years, and it has been only rising in the past. Let's say, for example, 3 years as we move to the 6, 7, 8 years, right? Okay, because podcasts have found a brand new space within our media consumption space. So you need to know how to be a storyteller, tell a narrative, be able to interview well if that's what you want to go for, create radio dramas, create radio documentaries. These are the like really big categories for, but there are just too many types of podcasts out there right now. If you go to NPR and you get the NPR app, you'll see exactly what I mean. There's just a whole bunch of people podcasting, allowing their voices to be heard, giving a little bit of contribution to society, their I say your demographic has to kind of resemble you within the podcasting space. So the people, like-minded people, and I simply love the podcasting space. I simply love the radio space even more. But I like that audio has been extended. The audio platform has been extended in a way that we always think, our DSTV, Netflix, Showmax, all this type of stuff is like almost crushing its other competitors, but it really isn't. And it's nice to see that we are in a space that podcasting and other audio contribution is coming along and standing strong. Okay. All right. Podcasting facts in 2022, content marketing is fundamentally changing. So, of course, yes, that can be attributed to the fact that, yes, COVID did happen and, we had a lot of extra time on our hands. Loyalty was growing because, yes, we wanted to listen to the radio, but also wanted good entertainment pieces, good opinion pieces, good again, storytelling, like dramatical, how can I say, reenactments of something or other. It all depends on obviously us, the creatives, on how we wanted to, explain what was going on in our lives and in our climate or around us. It didn't really matter. Whatever you wanted to do, you can do it on a podcast, right? So the listeners started enjoying that. I'm not going to say a lot more than radio or another platform, but they found it found a good space in their hearts, because it's just one of those things that it's so niche. The more niche it is, the more likely it is that you are going to attract a whole bunch more of listeners. Okay, so they build brand trust and affinity. So unlike the radio space, the TV space, whatever it is, the public print space, whatever it may be, we are allowed in podcasting to just have one sponsorship contract. So for example, it's BMW, the brand that is linked to just like I say, a sponsorship, whatever it is, has a very natural execution to. There's none of this you can't really tell when exactly the sponsor or the brand that is promoting or sponsoring this is going to come up. And so what happens is that we get a much more effective way of advertising to a consumer using podcasts, right? But again, it's also about loyalty. So the thing is that picking the brand that is going to sponsor your podcast must have to do with and it must align with the people that you are broadcasting this podcast to. Okay. Um, and podcast tools are easier to use and more affordable than ever. So you can be using GarageBand and Audacity, very cheap. What I'm saying cheap. The best price is for free, right? So here is they're both for free. Audacity works really well. I know that you are all you've been introduced to sound engineering one with Logic, maybe perhaps Pro Tools, but this is very easy to use if you are struggling, or you do want to learn like an audio editing suite quickly. Go download them. They're not that big and they are super helpful and super cool. Yeah. Of course, just because of the climate that we have been living in, right? Um, there have been, there's been more time at home means more time to listen, of course, right? We'll see as it goes along, but the prediction is that because it's been 2 years going on to 3. This is long enough for it to become a lifestyle, and we won't easily chuck podcasting to one side. In fact, we won't. Okay. If it was maybe a 2, 3, 4 month differentiation, we might have reverted back to our media consumptions in what we would call then our traditional lifestyle. But it's been too long, and we've just included another space in it. And yeah, for our new mediums. You can go have a look at the rest, which is our mobile music services, things like Deezer, Spotify, Pandora, etc. And that is what that lesson is about. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. I want to go to. So just to quickly, I just want to clarify up here. You can go to lesson 4. It is an extension on the digital strategy, right? And that will help you out. It will give you a step by step, but I really want to focus on this last particular one, okay? And then we'll end it for now, okay? So once again, in lesson 4, don't freak out because I'm not doing it right now. It is important, but it shows you like how to break down your digital strategy that we have just discussed, in this previous lesson, and how you can develop a proper digital schedule and strategy for yourself. Okay. All right. So character profiles. I just want to. It's one of those things that you actually have to do for. I think it's one of the assignments. I don't think it's the first one. And so our character profiles are going to look very much just a long list of details about us. Oh man, just how tall we are, how small we are, whatever it may be. I don't know. But the thing is that what I've done here is I've split it up into three parts. With the outer layer, we're going to get to know you a little bit deeper, and then obviously just kind of your morals and that type of stuff a little bit later, right? Okay, so what's important about this and why we actually do this is so that you, as a broadcaster, like someone in the public eye, and also someone that is selling themselves, constantly and constantly. If we have a look at the, television industry and the film industry, our actors and actresses have something called Z cards, right? The Z cards include name, age, place of birth, current location, nationality, education, occupation, things like that, right? And I don't see that we're not living in a world where we are now exempt from the visual space at all. In fact, you have to be. You can't just be a voice behind a mic that people never see. Again, social media is the obvious one that people are going to know what you look like. They are going to hear what you sound like. They're going to see a bit of a performer. But now we are really like kind of like head on head or head to head with what we're finding in the TV industry. Okay. So what you're going to do then is, and again, I'm going to go quickly through them because it's not much to explain. Remember that here you mustn't go and fill in everything. Okay, so maybe perhaps you up to this point you'd fill in up to occupation. Let's go to the next one. You see like eye color, hairstyle, build. Do you have any distinguishing features? What's your preferred outfit? So do you wear glasses? Don't you? What accessories are always something that kind of defines like a bit of people know they're related to you. What's your visual level of grooming? Are you disheveled? In other words, do you have abnormalities within your physical nature? Smart, very put together, untidy but clean. Do you have any other distinguishing tics and mannerisms? So tics is a very negative connotation. Um, I'll share. For example, a tick of mine is when I get super anxious, like there's just a massive tick that I actually start getting in terms of the delivery of my words. It starts crumbling completely. Now you're going to say that's not quite a tick. Like we think tick for the literal term, like when someone has uh, like a tick in their eye, or a tick like here by their shoulder, and they're kind of clicking all the way, and it's not that type of tick. We're talking about things that definitely are they connect your mannerisms and stuff like that, and your manner. So what's your health? What's the health like at this point? I'm going to say to like I don't know, negotiable. The way that I feel. Do they suffer from chronic illnesses? Describe their handwriting. Yeah, not really. How do they walk? Confident, powerful strides, a lazy stroll, fast walks, at a clip, distracted, eyes on the ground, etc. Okay, remember, as I said, so it's going to look like a whole bunch of stuff is not relevant. It's because it really isn't. Okay, just always when you are going through, and you will develop one for yourself, you have to develop one for yourself. You must include the stuff that is necessary for you to sell as a brand. Okay, sell as a brand, and remember, in correlation to developing what is known as a Z card. Okay, so how do you talk? Rapidly, slow, measured drawl, what's type of your speech? Elevated, educated, peppered with slang. Do you have an accent? Is your posture military, slouching, casual, and relaxed? Um, are you turtle tired? So, for example, like a turtle, like kind of like, arches its neck a little bit. Um, and people kind of do that as well. Do they gesture? Do you gesture only when agitated or eager? You don't gesture at all. You're a compulsive, a hand talker. That's like me. Controlled only to make a point, and so on and so forth. Okay. What's their preferred curse word? Well, not something you want to kind of share with everyone. So that's a swear word. What's your catchphrase if you have one that you're currently stuck on? Any speech impediments? What are your distinguishing speech tics? Once again, there, remember, see that word tics is different from quirks. Okay, so quirks is in your assignment, whereas tics, not so much. Okay. What's their laugh like? What do they tend to find funny? Describe their smiles, your smile, should I say, right? So obviously this is doing in third person. Okay, do you have resting bitch face, right? Are you a bitch, but a nice bitch? And again, not swearing, this is a word that has been used like on commercial radio in like 1999. Anyway, so angel, are you neutral? Are you others? Yeah. So part two is your flesh. So what makes the inner part of you? We're starting to go a little bit further. So your hometown, what type of childhood did you have? Describe the effect of your education and the impact of your education. Were you involved in the clubs at school or sports or debate? Are you gay? Are you straight alliance? Are you a model like union representative, right? Um, Drama, did you do that? Jobs, if applicable, what would your resume look like? What was the dream job you might have had as a child? Is it something that perhaps you're doing right now? Who are your role models growing up? So people that you respected and admired, never wanted to be either exact like copy of them. What's your greatest regret? Remember to turn all these things into something that is definitely a story. Once I regretted this, one of my biggest regrets could probably be that, I wanted to do this, and at a certain point in my life, I decided to go the opposite direction and not feel, any notion of how I connected to what I wanted to do at any one given time, right? Okay. All right. So favorite place, hobbies, earliest memories, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Let's see if these are important. What advice would you give to your younger self? That's pretty cool. Only include attributes of your family, your mother, your father, and your siblings if it describes a tangible characteristic of yourself. Okay, so your mother or your father had an influence on you because your siblings you have a great relationship with. It adds to how you feel. That family is more important than anything else, and love and religion or whatever it may be. um, I was introduced to, by growing up in this particular family, right? Grandparents, very important within our African cultures, uncles, aunts, cousins, etc. Yeah. Okay, then we look at our external relationships. So, for example, friends, how do you choose them? How do you or why are you in a certain friend circle? I wouldn't say any enemies, just people that maybe do not like to be around because they are not great inflections on who or reflections on who you are. Okay, no, that is not, I think, important. Okay, perhaps if you have children, that's interesting. Obviously, it's something that you want to include. Excuse me, right? Again, use every single aspect you choose from top to bottom in all these slides to be able to tell us a bit more about you as a brand. That is very important that you do that. All your social media handles, okay, and how you use your social media platforms. What do you use them for? What is your group dynamic within external relationships? Are you a leader, a joker, a parent, a hype man, a mooch? Are you a wingman? Or do you mentor? Do you practical advice? That's not important. And yeah, I would not say the rest then. Okay. The last one is the core. We're nearly done, and I'll leave you at that because that's quite a lot. Quite a lot. You can come and ask me for anything else. In class, obviously come and introduce yourself, please, so they can add you to the WhatsApp groups. And Yeah, okay, let's have a look at the last one, the core. Okay, so are you street or are you book smart? Are you book smart, excuse me, introverted or extroverted? All right, that I don't think is important. That neither over there. What do you think you want the most? Yes, that's important. What's your biggest flaw? Yes. What's your biggest strength? What's your biggest fear? Your biggest accomplishment? What is the idea of perfect happiness? Yeah, I would say maybe like a dream goal, personally and professionally. Maybe your favorite quote. Definitely, that tells us a lot about where your mindset is at this very moment. How do they approach power, ambition, love, change? Okay, how do you? And which ones do I think are important? Left, no, 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 no. Yeah, this one's cool. If you didn't have didn't have to sleep, what would you do with your extra time? Pet peeves, not the lottery one, please. Describe the your character bucket list of the at the age of 15, 20, 30, and 40. List 10 songs. No, I wouldn't put that. And what is the best compliment that you ever have paid, that someone has ever paid to you? And in an elevator, do you push the buttons more than one? I think that's a bit laughable. Do not do that. Great. Please create your own character profile. We're going to end with that. That's exactly an hour. Anything longer, up to this long, should start to fade your attention. So I'm going to stop that share. If there's anything else that you do need, I will see you on campus. This is totally my my Sunday night look. So um, I will see you on a Monday look, which will be slightly different. Okay. I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you then.